Hi, good evening, dear friends and co-workers. This is Efrat, and thank you again for being here. First, I want to thank those of you who responded to our request and sent emails about topics you would like us to bring here. We will not address them especially tonight, but we will try to incorporate them over time. This evening, I'd like to focus not on a specific event or developments, but rather on a general atmosphere. What stood out to me most is a heavy feeling of pain and frustration, a long and ongoing pain for the hostages and the horrifying situation they are in, for residents of Gaza and the unbearable suffering, for the soldiers who are being killed and wounded, for the growing number of soldiers who can no longer bear the sights they've witnessed and end their lives. An immense pain and frustration of the government's cruel identified towards its citizens in every area, over the brutality, destruction, and the severe harm inflicted on Palestinian residents of the West Bank, while the government does nothing to protect them. In the street and at the demonstration, more and more signs are appearing that say, "We are Israeli, we are not our terrible government." This message reflects a strong sense of a deep divide between the people and those in power. Of course, there are still supporters of the government and its policies and its policy. They make a lot of noise, but they are not the majority. But unfortunately, they have political power and influence. In the Joint Israeli-Palestinians group of brave families, pain is what connects and binds us. May we all, through all humanity, learn to grow from pain, not hostility and revenge, but closeness, love, and partnership. Thank you. To you, Helen.
Thank you, Efrat. It's good to hear that even with pain, we are moving forward. And thank you for bringing this atmosphere. And here, around this atmosphere, in the midst of this raging war, more and more countries announce publicly their recognition of a Palestinian state, and maybe also a two-state solution in the area. I've been wondering, what is this awakening exactly at this stage of affair? What is it? What brings those countries like France and Canada and the UK to pronounce loudly this declaration, and now? So questions are raised in my mind all the time. Is it realistically feasible? And why now? Is it really out of humanitarian concern? Is it to revive the United Nations Declaration of 1948 that has really never been assumed and then changed and upgraded, giving to the Palestinian a status of observer state, granting them rights without being a full member of the United Nations? Is it out of internal political dynamics? Or because, the time has come? Do demographic factors interplay with broader diplomatic goals and humanitarian considerations? All those questions, for instance, in England and in France, the sizable Muslim populations who often identify strongly with Palestinians contribute to shaping governmental and political stances about Palestine recognition and the two-state solution, which is really a very, I would say in Hebrew, halavai, may it be. Or is it wanting those countries, those leading countries, to be the good guys in the Western world? I am left with questions, and but the pace of events is so overwhelming that all is left for me is to ask questions, and in a quite naive way, also, I must say. And the main question right now for me is, why so much external intervention instead of assisting the entity or the entities to come to their own conclusions from within without smashing so much noisy propaganda that blurs any possibility of seeing clearly? So I'm sharing with you all those questions that occupy me daily. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's for us to hold all these questions, to stay with this uncertainty, with not knowing, is that going in the right direction, or is there ulterior motive taking us deeper down into the wrong direction? So our job here is to hold all this with no judgment, if we can manage that, and just be a channel for what we know, what we hope can bring betterment, which is the soul awakening and the soul energy. So this is what we are working with here. So let us settle now in our body, breathing, coming into our inner silence. Touching base with our heart, the deep heart between the shoulder blades. Purified in harmlessness. We collect our mental forces into the center of the head. Expanding our awareness into a planetary perspective now. Standing as the soul in incarnation, in the will to peace. And we visualize ourselves coming together on a mountain top, in a sphere of pure light. Standing in this sphere together, linking with each other, heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul. We realize that we are in telepathic communion with all soul-guided servers as part of the Ajna center of the planet. Holding this vibration, standing calm at the midway point between the manifest world and the higher realms. And from here, let us just take a moment to observe humanity as a whole, spread over the continents, ordered into nations. And focusing in on the Middle East region now. On the different nations and ethnic and religious groups there. And the complexity of these relationships, of this interplay. Dynamic, intense. An intense planetary vortex, solar plexus vortex, with its mental, emotional, and physical levels. Let's take a moment to sense the effect of it on the etheric body of humanity. Just witnessing. And as we hold this, let us open towards our ashramic co-workers, sensing their protective presence with us. Opening into their much wider perspective, wider wisdom. Their sense of what's the bigger picture here in the Middle East? What is the higher plan for this region? What is meant to be here? What's the path ahead between history and the future? Let's get a sense of it, sense this plan intuitively and instinctually as a vibration, as a quality. It already exists. And it grows in our awareness, through our awareness, and through our will. We know it will be manifested, and we know that destruction is still part of this process. Must be so. And at the same time, let us give space in us, in our awareness, that a time may come when the necessary destruction of old, outworn forms will be happening not by outer force, not by violence, but by the greatly strengthened life within those forms. Visualize destruction of form, necessary, liberation from form, not by force, but by the waking up of the inner spirit, of the soul light, which will crack this form from within. Liberation from within. Let's stay a moment with this. And let us now trace an energetic connection between this future possibility and the present condition on the ground. Holding these two, bringing them into vibratory relation, sensing the magnetic flow between them. And see and sense a shaft of pure golden white light, broad and brilliant, flood West Asia. See a huge column of light pouring through all planes. Hold this column steady in the will to peace. See soul light flooding the mental sphere of the Middle East. See soul light pouring into the astral plane of the Middle East. See soul light pouring into the etheric physical plane of the Middle East, penetrating into the earth pouring into the old imprisoning patterns of separativeness still there. And let us invoke the aid of the Lords of Liberation to help with this planetary task and evoke the soul light in humanity. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, Almighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth, the end of woe has come. Come forth, Almighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, Almighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, Almighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. Visualize the saving force spreading to the entire Middle East, into each nation and each ethnic and religious group. For all our relations, for the highest good of all. We anchor the saving force in the Middle East through the sound of the great invocation in Hebrew and in Arabic.
מנקודת האור אשר בדעת אל, יזרום האור אל דעת האדם. ירד האור על פני האדמה. מנקודת האהבה אשר בלב האל. תזרום האהבה אל לבבות אנוש. ישוב מורה עולם על פני האדמה. מהמרכז שבו נודע רצון האל, תנחה תכלית את רצונות אדם. תכלית אותה מורי האנושות יודעים ומשרתים. מהמרכז אשר נקרא המין האנושי, תוגשם תוכנית האהבה והאור, ויחתם הפתח אל הרע. יהי רצון, ויחדשו אור אהבה ועוצמה, את התוכנית על פני האדמה. אמן.
من نقطة النور في العقل الإلهي ليشع النور في عقول الناس وليهبط النور إلى الأرض. من نقطة الحب في القلب الإلهي ليتسرب الحب إلى قلوب الناس وليرجع معلم الكون إلى الأرض. من المركز الذي تعرف منها إرادة الله لتقود الغاية إرادة الناس البسيطة، تلك الغاية التي يدركها المعلمون ويخدمونها. من المركز الذي ندعون بالجنس البشري لينتج تسمين الحب والنور ويختم على الباب الذي يقيم به الشر، ليجدد النور والحب والقوة تسمين على الأرض. الله أمين.